like any good role-playing game, there's many different ways that story can go. In our story, Elturel is actually it is saved, but that's not the end of it. It's a cataclysmic event. It has aftershocks that are still passing through the world. So when we regain control of the Nautiloid, we bring ourselves back to Faerun and we crash land. And we crash land somewhere between Baldur's Gate, which is on the west and the Sword Coast, and Elturel. And we're going to see the aftermath of Elturel's descent.
All right. Hopefully this works.
Through this area, and we're going to get caught up in
just let me know if you can hear.
Hinder them. We can get involved in their stories, but that's not our story. Our story.
Hello, everybody.
Back to this thing inside our brain, and if you could talk a little bit about that, the parasite, Chris, what that's actually doing inside us right now.
Yeah. So mind flayers, they're awful. But
I'm awesome.
Do not procreate the way most other creatures do. The way they procreate is through a process called ceramorphosis, in which they implant this parasite into a humanoid host, and over time, the parasite transforms the host magically into a fully grown adult mind flayer. And it's an absolutely horrific and disturbing process. Once you become a mind flayer, of course, you don't have much in the way of memories of your past self. You are basically one of them.
So, but this tadpole, of course, is a bit different. We already revealed a little bit about that. So as we start panicking and we figured out a way out of hell, we are going to try to figure out how the hell are we going to get rid of this tadpole that's inside.
Birthing pains, boys, birthing pains.
As we're doing that, we'll learn things about
Second time in my life that I'm streaming.
We actually don't have a lot of
and
ahead of us.
Well,
and then suddenly something strange starts happening.
Yeah.
We start gaining strange powers. We start not transforming into a mind flayer, which is good, we think. And some of us in our party start thinking, like, maybe this infection is not such a bad thing. Maybe there's something to be said for it, because like for certain characters, it's actually solving problems that they have in life. And so there's a rift that appears in the party. Certain characters say like, well, we need to get rid of this thing. We can't leave it inside of us. Some say, well, maybe we should figure out first what's going on here. Maybe we can find a way of controlling it. And then others say like, hell yeah, this is really cool. We should join the bad guys that are responsible for all of this. And it's at exactly that moment that hell comes back into the storyline, because a nice gentleman by the name of Raphael makes his action. And
I don't know why
he introduces himself very rapidly
it's
as a devil. He's
cutting out. I think it's on their end,
look, I mean, like,
but I'm not really sure.
Deal. And the reason why I'm proposing a deal to you is because you don't really care about your soul anyway, because you don't have a soul anymore. If you turn into a mind flayer, your soul is gone. So what do you have to lose? And so what's cool is that in multiplayer, when you have multiple players who are going to be confronted by a Raphael, they get to decide what they're going to do. So, for instance, Chris, you could say, hell no, I'm never going to live with this tadpole. And Adam could say, well, hell yeah, I'm going to do that. And I could say somewhere in between. And so maybe Adam makes a pact with the devil so he can get the best of the
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm making a pact with the devil, bros.
And so
that is such a mistake. That is
deals with the devil.
That would be a huge mistake.
Just wait.
Yeah, deals with the devil.
I make a lot of mistakes, Chris. I make a lot of mistakes.
But that's fun.
Yeah.
So the funny thing
it's
about
amazing.
It's not a mistake. That's fun.
Yeah. Obviously, you know,
these guys,
these devil, you know, the devil and the motivation. You know, you talked about sort of, you know, wanting your soul and these deals. Why would you want to make a deal?
What kind of question is that? Jesus.
Well, I think a lot of good adventure begins
with
curiosity. You know, I mean, I'm an expert on making mistakes, so I will take this. I may just be curious. I may just want to see what happens. I may be seduced by the devil. They're charismatic.
Okay.
But fundamentally, I have a serious problem, and maybe this devil can help with the problem. But Chris, if you could just talk about what the devil wants in return. What do they actually want from me?
So in the 9 hells, souls are the currency of the realm. For a devil to acquire a soul, that's great for them because they can trade
Yes,
that
no?
soul in
A little bit of
essentially
lighting.
to rise in power in the hierarchy
This
that kind of rules
or
the
this?
9 hells. So that's really what they want: souls, souls, souls. And in order to get them, though, they have to corrupt them first. They can't just grab anybody's soul. They have to lead someone down a path where they keep making bad decisions, evil choices, and so that when they die, their soul naturally goes to the 9 hells. That's what the devil wants to happen. And so they're always orchestrating events to try to make that happen.
Of course.
And they can do it through seduction, they can do it through deception. However they want to do it is fine, but that's their end game.
Speaking of
So-
decisions and choices, we're going to see a lot of gameplay today, and of course, at the heart of these games is decision and choice for the players. We're going to talk a bit about Crusher, who will be returning here for some interactive moments throughout the stream. Adam, why don't you tell us a bit about Crusher and Crusher's role?
Yeah, so we're going to move away from devils briefly and look at a situation some of you may have seen before. We're going to see different aspects of that. So, as a big shout out to the BG3 subreddit, you guys know I love goblins, I love you. This is a scene where we've actually become friends with some goblins. We've actually gone into an encounter of goblins and we're interacting them in a friendly way. We've not gone in bashing their heads. We've decided, hey, let's play cool with them. So we're at a party, we're having a good time. We're having a real good time with these goblins. But then we Crusher. And Crusher's obnoxious, he's unpleasant, he's the guy he's the death of the party. So we're going to meet him and we're going to see how this interaction goes, I think, now, yeah?
I like the voice actor of Crusher.
Take a look.
Oh, I
By
see.
the way, Nick is joining us again, and he's going to be
By the way,
running
guys,
the gameplay here and lead us all the way.
If it's cutting out a little bit,
and then
I don't
you
know
guys are
if
gonna get
it's
to
on my end or their end, but
Now, while he's doing that, can I just do like a big shout out? Try to make different
Can't
decisions
do
than you
much.
did last time, community. So try to not make the same
Thanks, bro.
decision. So you can see how this pans out differently. It's up to you. I mean, like, but I would sincerely advise you to go in a different direction.
Rest his arm with me bare hands. Weaker than pixies, humans.
Oh, you got him good.
And who are you? Another pest? Dwarves. Think you rule the world, ha?
oh, this actually looks nice.
Says that. And then they spit in our faces. But no more. It's a changing. We got the absolute.
This might be on my end, but hey,
Better learn your place.
old laptop.
Go on. Kiss more foot.
I'm not kissing that foot.
Nasty look right off your face.
I ain't kissing that foot when I
End
play.
him or leave him. But don't you dare grovel to this slug.
All right.
Do I need to rip your ear shells off? You heard me.
Oh, what is that? I never saw that. That wasn't the first time
There's our
around.
choice. 4 options. So in the chat, you guys
What is
can
that
select,
ring?
Which one we should
Yeah, thank you, bro.
choose here, and then we'll come back a little bit later.
Love
in
you
the
too,
stream
guys.
And see how this sequence plays out.
What
based
is the
on
ring?
The community, but
Was the ring the first time around?
guys, which one would you suggest
I don't think
the
so.
audience pick? Let's sway them out of the 4 options here. Let's start with you, Chris.
I've got a
Number
bit of
2.
a rogue
Personally.
temperament, and I'm kind of tempted by whatever that is on his.
Oh,
his
yeah.
foot there. So
Lord
I
Jesus,
would
boys.
Go with option 1.
Option 1? What was option 1?
Sven?
And, oh, go on, Sven.
All right. No, go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, the shadowy
Well,
parasite.
I already said I'm a friend to all goblins, so I'm kissing that goblin wherever he wants to kiss.
I want to know that too, because you know,
Sven?
we still don't know which subclasses will be in the game.
Showing players a different outcome than they picked last time. I'm pretty sure they're going to pick exactly the same thing they picked last time, because that's how people are. But in the case that they want
So
to
I would
follow
pick
my
2,
advice, I would
you know.
suggest that we spit in his face.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
that's a very
I agree with
powerful,
Sven.
Powerful move. On top of that, Alizal is going to approve of this.
Listen to
I
Sven,
would-
he
I would
knows.
just go for spit him in the face.
I already said before, yeah, but
Well,
he agrees.
3 of the 4
Well,
options. interested, you guys again vote in the chat, and then we'll come back in a few minutes and we'll play out the sequence with your choice, and this will continue on kind of throughout the stream.
Yeah, by the way,
While
if
we
you
tally
want,
results in the chat,
you can
wanted
go
to
to
ask you guys
their
on
stream, but
just development of
it's
BG3,
maybe I
how
should
things
link
are
it.
progressing on the game.
Can I link
you know,
it on the
obviously it's been a
fly?
difficult year for all of us, and especially game developers working from home in this COVID pandemic.
I'm gonna link it in
world.
chat.
So Sven, wanted to ask you, like, how is development going? We know we're gonna get an early access date out of you guys, hopefully by the end of the stream here. What's it been like to make BG3 this year? Are things progressing as you'd like?
Yeah, it's going. I mean, like, the question how development is going ever since we started on this. I think I had the guys from Wizards like ask me like continuous, how's it going? How's it going? How's it going? So I'll be very happy that we can say, well, actually we have something to show now, so that you can actually go and play, and then I think people will like. So, but it's going. It's slower than we had hoped, of course. But we're getting there. We got pretty much all of our content in there. We managed to get our recording studios back online, which was a big thing. So they're going to be recording the final bits this month. So that's good.
Holy hell, 20,000 people almost.
Making progress. Work from home. Luckily, we have studios scattered around the world, so several of them are booted up again. So we're working at 50-60%.
Their chat is raving.
That's also really good. So we're in a good shape to actually push this thing through and get it into the hands of players, so that at least they can start fooling around with early access. We would probably already actually have been able to ship early access if we hadn't fallen into some of our old traps. One of these is our ability to underestimate exactly how much we have to add. It seems like we have this counter where we see like, okay, these are the amount of dialogues in the game, this is the amount of dialogues that are recorded, this is the amount of cinematics that are finished, and that counter is supposed to go to 100%, and then we can ship the early access content. But the thing this counter has been doing, it went from 70 to 80 to 90 to 80 to 70 to 60 to 70 to 80 and so forth. And recently it's been trying to get to 100%, and it's been hovering around 95% since forever. And so,
oh, welcome to my world, Sven.
That has everything of course to do with the fact that for each dialogue we write, 2 new dialogues pop up as edge cases.
I make a video,
right?
I make a character,
Yeah,
and then
of
it
all,
sits on my hard drive for
sorry.
3 months.
Second of all, there are multiple reasons for this. This is the first game the scale that I've worked on, and one of the things that we are very, very keen to do is to make sure this world is as reactive as we can possibly make it, because that benefits all of you when you play. So as we build a situation, as we build a quest, as we build a dialogue, what we find is that somebody within the team or somebody in a different department might say, well, I'd love to be able to do that, or I'm going to approach from this angle, or I'm going to break the timing of this and the chronology of it. And we don't say no, we say yes, and then we adapt to that, and we make sure that the dialogue makes sense, that the way the world reacts makes sense, and that it remembers what you did. And that just adds complexity onto complexity, and it makes for a really, really satisfying experience. And the other part of that is that if somebody has a really cool idea, then it tends to find its way into the game. And we have a lot of really smart people who have really good ideas, and those ideas do end up in the game on the whole. And it goes further than that. Sometimes we have a very small idea, and it blossoms and it grows, and
Is it better this way?
it ends up in the game. And I think Sven has a particular example of something that really demonstrates this. And
Absolutely, absolutely. I got this real cool button that I'm gonna hit right now for the first time. It's like, I think I hit the right one. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, you know, I like a good world premiere.
So,
there you go.
Yeah, hold on. Wait until you'll see my other button. We're a company that iterates a lot, as Adam said, and we give a lot of room for what is a good idea. So a couple of weeks ago, and this is literally only a couple of weeks ago, and I picked this example specifically because of that. One of our scripters transformed something that was a piece of scenery into an interactive object. And so we do these regular reviews of the content, and we're looking at this thing that's so that's pretty cool. And so then the interactive object became a situation. And so we looked at that situation and said, oh, that's really cool. And then that situation became a scene where you can recruit a follower. And it said, whoa, this is really, really cool. And then now there's an entire movement within the company trying to make this follower into a companion, which is where I said, okay, stop. All right, so we're not going to start doing it, otherwise we're never going to end. But it's a very cool example of how the game gets better, how it gets evolves pretty much like a tabletop campaign would go together with the players. In this case, the players are the developers. And it's also something I'm very proud of what the team did, because you literally have to realize that what you're about to see right now, 2 weeks ago, did not exist. And it was just a stupid object somewhere sitting on the line of a nautiloid. So I'm going to hit my button again, and then we're going to have a look at, oh, there's my button again, our lobotomy scene. Let's look at it.
Oh, this is something new. I don't remember this. Hold on, give me a second. That's
Yes, you've come to save us from this place.
Oh
From
man.
this place, you'll free us.
The exposed brain quivers in expectation.
That's awesome.
Please, please. Before they return. They return. A newborn. Born new from this husk.
You realize you're talking to Intellect devourer, a minion of the mind flayers who abducted you.
That's actually awesome.
Remove us from this body. From this case, free us.
Ah, that's so cute.
Please.
I mean, it's gross, but it's cute.
You notice edema, a swelling of the brain causing pressure where it strains against the shell of the skull.
Hey, Bombasaki, what's up, man? Oh, how is she still alive?
Lifts from the skull, but you notice an opportunity.
Not anymore.
You could cripple the strange creature, making it more subservient, should it prove a threat.
You're actually making a pet out of Intellect Devourer? Damn. Speak about betting on your life. Thanks, man.
Creature seems unaware
What's
of
up, Bala?
interference. It relaxes in your hands.
We are free. Our freedom is ours, friend.
The creature pauses, listening. Something behind your eyes seizes in recognition.
We must go to the helm. At the helm, we are needed.
It's kind of cute, but I've had many unpleasant experiences with these critters.
We are us.
I don't know. I have conflicted emotions right now.
To the helm we go. We are going
Like,
to the helm.
trauma? Cute.
Isn't that awesome?
All right. Well, we got to find out a little bit more lore about
A lot
this
of trauma,
threat,
by the way.
The Intellect Devourer. Chris, tell us about an Intellect Devourer.
First of all, that was super gross, but also awesome.
I agree.
Intellect devourers are creatures made by mind flayers out of the brains of humanoids. The mind flayers have arcane rituals that they can cast upon the brain and then transform it into the creature that you saw. Now, what's dangerous about an intellect devourer, once it's been created, is it itself has these psychic powers and can psionically or psychically bombard you, causing your brain essentially to turn to slush.
Yep.
And then once it has destroyed the brain in your skull, it teleports into your skull, replaces your brain, and basically operates you like
Hey,
a
Sven's got one right there.
operating a
I got
puppet.
it. I'm trying to eat it, but my armor is
There it is.
stuck. It's
Yeah.
so I can't bring it.
Oh, damn.
I
want
got
that.
this awesome stuff from our props department. And so, hold on, because it even gets better. We're now selling them on shop.larian.com.
I'm buying one.
You can have little Intellect devourer. I'm kidding. It's not true.
Buying one.
It's not true. Anyway, Chris, I interrupted you. Sorry.
No, that's totally cool. So
Yeah.
what's
That'd be
obviously
hilarious.
disturbing is you could be talking to somebody and not realize that their brain has been replaced with an intellect devourer, and they're basically you're being to a meat puppet.
Not me though.
So,
All right.
so
I could be
the
an
thing is,
intellect devourer.
That's one of the
there you go.
reasons.
Yeah, and so in BG3, actually, because of the tadpole that you have, you learn that you can actually communicate with all these mind flayer related creatures, and you can command them. They can try to command you. So you got this entire interaction going on with them. But just going back to what I said before, I thought it was pretty amazing that the team managed to pull off this scene so fast. And it goes to show what we've been doing all these years as we've been working on BG3. We made this gigantic, how shall I call it, situation production machine, where if somebody comes up with a great idea, they can put it into the game fairly fast, link it to everything in there. They got a whole bunch of tools that support them, because now that us is, because that's what its name is in the tutorial, other characters had to react to it. Is it present in your party? Is us following you? So they need to start reacting to that. So that's the permutations that Adam was talking about. And that came about really fluently when you looked at it, how the development of it was going. And it goes from, I mean, this started with scripting. A writer jumped on it, then the entire art team jumped on it together with the animators, the cinematic guys, the sound guys, the voice guys. There's a lot of talent in just making that little scene that needs to be there. And I just find it amazing that they can get this, and it shows how far the studio has come actually since we started working on BG3 back in 2017. So we have now this huge machine that can support lots of choices, and we're heavily abusing it, let's put it that way.
Never-ending content. But
Has
yeah,
anybody in here
that's a fun
played
sequence, and
Divinity?
obviously,
Divinity
you
games?
guys have been building
In
so
the chat?
much content that we're going to talk about. I mean, the amount of stuff that's in early access, we'll get to it, but I'm pretty blown away with what you guys have put together. So let's check in with our friend Crusher now and see what the audience wants to do next. We have the results of the poll in, and it looks like 41% of you picked to intimidate him with how about you kiss my feet instead. So but the audience, let's take a look. World premiere.
That's funny. I want to know what that ring is. What's that ring?
Nobody listens to me.
Anybody know?
That's exactly what they deserve for not listening to me.
You ain't got nothing on me, so kiss my foot.
I'm gonna kiss your foot if you give me that ring.
I suggest an apology.
I do too.
There we go, the ring. Like, it's clearly not part of the foot, you
Couldn't
see?
read what you did, Nick.
All right.
It's moving on its own a little bit. The animation is kind of like
the next
finicky.
choice there. 4 more options. So again, in the chat, take your pick there.
Dude, kneel down,
how you want to kiss
snatch the
and
ring.
then, we'll follow that up in a second and see what people select this time around. All right, so we've seen a glimpse of Avernus, goblins, intellect devourers. A lot of folks watching this, I think, want to know early access. We're going to get a date out of you, but also like the content of a. What can we expect in terms of the scale and scope of what you're going to put out into the world for players to play around with, Sven?
Yeah, I didn't play Divinity either
I'll take it.
because I'm on a laptop.
Okay, Adam. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm going to take it, Sven. I think that, as you say, you've already seen, just for early access, you've got multiple planes of existence. We're showing you Avernus. We're then taking you to Faerun, and when you get to Faerun, you're going to see dungeons and dragons, which you might expect. You're going to see temples. You're going to see a big chunk of gameplay on the surface world. A lot of it we haven't shown yet. You'll get to meet those goblins. You'll get to meet a lot of other people as well. And we've already teased the Underdark. He will be going to the Underdark. There's a lot to see. There's a lot of secrets and mysteries down there. There's a lot of danger down there as well. You're going to meet a lot of different characters. Some of them you may recognize if you're a D&D fan. You already met Baldur'S previously. And he
I
made
agree,
a
Johnny.
cameo, I think, earlier today for an eagle-eyed who spotted him. But you will meet lots of different characters, many different characters. You're going to see different factions of which you'll recognize, some that we've invented ourselves. And of course, there's going to be a lot of monsters on the surface and in the Underdark. And those monsters include...
Oh boy. Let's see.
A bullet. Now, Chris,
okay.
Could you tell us what a bullet is?
Yeah, a bullet is a terrifyingly large monster.
Yeah.
That
burrows
sometimes goes
underground.
by the name land shark. And what it does, as its name suggests, is it burrows under the ground, just below the surface, churning up the earth as it goes, while it hunts. And then
I think
when
it only has one
something
attack,
it wants
though.
to eat on the surface, it bursts up out of the ground to chomp on it. And it's big and terrifying. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
Only one attack, but a lot of damage.
EA, I know we were talking earlier. You thought it would be 20+ hours of stuff for folks to play around with. So lots of stuff to it. And I think people probably want to know also about the classes, like what classes are going to be available, what level will we be able to reach in early access. Can you give us any kind of details there, Sven, on what we can expect?
Yeah, I want to know too.
Yeah and no. So, because we are since we're still building the early access content, we're still slightly hesitant to announce all of the classes that are going to be in there. But I think that we should be able to cover at least a few of them. Chris, what do you play actually for the moment? What is it? What would you play?
So I often play rogues. I'm also a fan of fighters, and I like rangers because
I don't like rogues.
They're in touch with the primeval natural world.
All right.
Those are my favorites.
Well, we'll have all
Like
of those
single
covered,
class rogues.
so that's already something.
Oh.
And there will be more.
Multi-class?
So we'll
Sure.
have a selected. We'll have a action of classes that are going to be in there. We'll have quite a few races, quite a few sub-races. We don't know exactly how many are going to be there. It depends on a couple of assets. We are going to allow you to create your own custom character. So when you'll see character creation, we should be presenting it soon enough. You will see you get a lot of customizability. As a matter of fact, later on the stream, we'll show a bit of gameplay that I just stumbled upon by fooling around in character creation and like just picking an option and said, oh my god, I start with that and now I can do that, and that is really cool. So you'll be able to create a wide selection of custom characters.
Sorry,
and
Bombasaki.
we'll let you in early access play up to level 4. Now, before you go saying, what, only level 4? Level 4 in Dungeons & Dragons is actually quite a lot already. Can you maybe help us explain that, Chris?
Sure. Well, the good news is that you're not as frail as you were when you were level 1.
Yeah, sure.
So you can take a bit of punishment. But more importantly is once you get to level 4, you've already made some key character-defining decisions. For instance, your class, you've chosen a subclass, which is sort of like a way to specialize.
Come on, give us level
within
5.
your class.
Level 5,
and not only
man.
have you chosen a subclass, but you've probably had the option to choose a feat, which is a mechanic that lets you further customize your character and gives your character access to new ability. And obviously, if you're a spellcaster, by the time you hit 4th level, you're starting to get some fairly interesting spells.
You need level 5 for that fireball. I think you know that, Chris.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're still going to struggle when we throw a land shark at you. You're still going to get shot.
Yes.
But thankfully, you'll be traveling alone.
I think this is on me, guys. This
that you can
lagging.
recruit, that you'll meet during your journey. I'll briefly mention who they are. You will have met some of them already. You've been following our development. But here's a quick rundown. So there's Will. He's a human warlock who might feel either very at home or very alarmed by where I am right now. The Shadowheart, who's a dark cleric on a mission from her goddess. Asterion, who's a very unusual character. He's a vampire spawn, so he has some unique mechanics.
Vampires are not the
warrior, who you see in the CGI intro.
official race in 5th edition
as well. She's not
we all know
with
that,
that
right?
group, but they are other Githyanki. So she knows a lot
that's
about mind
interesting.
flayers, so she's a very interesting character. And there's Gale, and Gale's a human wizard who has more things going wrong inside him than just a tadpole, but we'll say no more about that.
Now, with all these companions, I think everyone wants to know, can friends play companions? Are we going to get multiplayer in, at least in EA?
Oh, yes. Come on.
So, not instantly. So we'll introduce it to play as one of the origin characters later on. That'll give people the opportunity to get to know the companions from a third-person point of view, if you want, just by recruiting them. I gotta say, depending on which companions you pick, we talked about permutations earlier, you'll get a completely different experience. Like if you, for instance, if you take Shadowheart and Lyzel, they can't stand
Only
each other,
single
so that
player,
gives you
boys.
completely
Only
different
single
dynamics
player.
than if you take characters that actually like each other. So
it's
you
early
should be
access.
able to
What
have
can
a
you
lot of
do?
fun fooling around with these things. And we will have multiplayer in there. So
when?
you will be able to play with a party of up to 4. You'll be able to play online. You'll be able to play in LAN. We won't have split screen available from the get-go.
That's fine.
But that will be added at some point during development also.
We don't need
so
it.
there's going to be quite a lot of
We are in lockdowns.
Things that you can fool around with, because between the class choices that you'll have and the race choices that you'll have and the choice
Pandemic,
of companions
boys.
that you can have, that's already when you start
Online is all we need.
and you see what it means in game to have made those choices. That's already a lot of content that is going to be present in there.
Yeah. You talked a little earlier about still figuring out quite what classes will be available at EA. I mean, it's there's still things to be done, but I know we're going to pin you down on a date by the end of the stream, you promised. What is there left to do kind of between now and when you let the world in for early access on the game?
So I don't think we're going to add much more characters like us last minute anymore. So that was just really because they were still working on the tutorial area. I have to say the tutorial area is not finished yet, so we need to finish that one. We got the Act 1 that Adam talked about, that's done. So all the content is there. We're still balancing. There's some assets like the bullet that we talked about earlier on. Right now it looks like a bear because it's using the placeholder for bear, but soon
which is terrifying when
there.
it comes out of the ground.
Hey, that's fine.
It's pretty cool actually. It chases you around the Underdark. So
Bear miniature in tabletop.
At the most inopportune of times.
Can be a lot of
It's
things.
a rather interesting encounter, especially because it mingles with other encounters and you don't know when it's going to happen, and it's like it freaks the hell out of you because you're almost dead, and then suddenly the bullet is there, and you say no. So we'll see.
Oh yeah, for sure, shadowy parasite.
We're doing play tests now. And, actually, we have a bunch of people that are going to be
Monks
passing by
from
in the next couple
level
of days.
1 to
so
4.
That will be going on until early access.
Best damage dealers, most
We'll
consistent.
do balancing against them. We'll get rid of the most obnoxious UI things that might be in there that we have overlooked. So we'll try to fix the most prominent.
Even level 5.
And
I mean,
then
you have
the
4
last
attacks.
Bit that
That's
is
a lot.
really, if there's one thing that at this point I think might cause a slight delay, in addition to the date that I'm about to announce.
Oh my God! Here's the asterisk.
It's the asterisk. It's the optimization. So the game is coming out for both PC and Stadia. We want to get the minimum specs fairly low, so that a lot of people can already start fooling around with it. So there's a bunch of optimizations that need to happen.
We
and
need the
optimizing
date.
it's a very special profession. In the sense that every single time you optimize something, only then do you discover what the next thing is that you have to optimize. So these guys are literally driving blind in the realm of
optimization sucks.
Of optimization. So
in terms of
they're
video game
moderately
development.
optimistic. I mean, I had a lunch with them today, and they were in a good mood, so that's good, because usually they're panicking. So we'll see how it goes. So it's looking okay, and I'm optimist by nature, so I'm just going to stick to that, and so I hope that everything is going to work out.
I was going to say, we still get dated. Don't pull the date at the end. We need to get a date.
Oh, I agree, Joff. We need the date right now.
There's,
right
so
now.
much to this. We will give you guys a date. Don't worry. But Sven's always super honest with everyone about stuff. So yeah, we want to talk a bit more, I think, about the gameplay of what you're going to get in early access on Act 1. But before we do that, let's check back with Crusher to see what you guys picked. And based on the last prompt, it looks like 65% of you picked to kiss his foot and attempt to steal the ring. So we're about to see a
that's obvious.
Ring heist. Yes, let's see how this goes down.
Yeah, it seems like that's the case, Bombasaki. Let's see what's the ring.
Social distancing option.
Oh shit! He failed.
You deserve all of that. You didn't listen to what I said.
Catch a whiff of lavender. It gives way to the muddy taste of something better left without description.
So it might be magical, might be, I don't know.
You enjoying that? Disgusting, slimy. You stinking thief! I'll rip your
Here we go.
off.
Well, you ruined that. All right,
That's
well, Nick is going to have a lot of fun trying to get to the next section.
Now we don't know what happens
Let's see
with
if
the
he's
ring.
gonna manage to do that.
Maybe we will.
So there's as we're looking at this disaster in the making. Yeah,
wait,
did
did she catch the dwarf in AoE?
No, Nick, I mean, like, I didn't introduce him. He's our lead system designer. So
she
might
did.
actually manage to get something sorted out. I wanted to chat about something, as we'll let Nick in the background do combat. I wanted to chat about something that we didn't talk about yet, is how the early access content of Original Sin 2 compares to Baldur's Gate 3, actually. It's a bit I wanted to talk about to give you an idea of exactly how much is in there. Can we... are we going to watch the entire combat?
Why not?
You can cut away, I think, from it. It will take some time.
Disappoint.
Yeah, I think that's going to be...
I don't know,
so
Anonym.
Stuff. We were talking
they
earlier
didn't say.
about, like, the amount of dialogue and stuff in this
They
early
didn't
access
announce the date of release yet.
To previous early access, there's a lot of content, right?
Thank you, Jeff. I wanted to drop that because I looked up the numbers and they're pretty impressive actually when you look at it. So Baldur's Gate 3 early access has 80 potential combats compared to 22 in or 2 as early access version. The dialogue lines in Original Sin 2 we had
80 potential combats. That's a lot.
We have 45,980 lines at the moment in BG3. When you look at the amount of spells
80 combat encounters
from the get-go in early access, so
that's a lot.
Those two, that
was
is 69, and here we'll have
69. There we go, boys. 69. Yeah.
By far the most impressive one. In Original Sin 2, it was 142 characters that you encountered in Act 1, and here we have 596 in BG3's early access version. So I'm saying these numbers because it doesn't mean that you're going to play that much longer when you're going to play the early access version of BG3 compared to those two, but it's just testimonial to the amount of choices that you're going to get to make, because you won't have to do those 80 fights. It really depends on what choices you made. You will never see 46,000 lines of dialogue. It really depends on which
that's obvious.
Which class you selected, which companions you had, and so forth, which choices.
Welcome to the stream, everyone, by the way.
But it is really like, I thought
crap.
Was
my favorite?
Intellectually challenging already just to maintain the overview. But then when you look at BG3,
I didn't see the question, sorry.
It's with such a higher level. I mean, I think, Adam, maybe you can chat a little bit about what that means on your side, from the way where you're sitting.
But that's actually hard.
Dialogues.
Yeah, I mean, the number is important, obviously, but really what's important is that they're interesting, that they're quality, and that they are responsive to the way you play.
I'm gonna give you my top 5.
We don't want to deliver 45,000 lines of dialogue to you as a speech.
In no particular order.
We want you to interact with them. We want these to feel like conversations. So you're going to get, on a playthrough, the ones that feel right for your playthrough. And I'm going to do something that I'm going to implore you all now. We know that most people tend to be good people when they play CRPGs. It's the metrics show us that. What I'm going to ask you to do, if you play early access, use as an excuse to do the bad thing. I want you to be your worst version of yourself.
Oh, for sure.
Some of my favorite situations and characters in this game, you may not even speak to if you don't try those evil routes. We don't want this to be you clicking the hero button or you clicking the villain button. We don't want it to be like that. We want the world to react to the things you do, and we want you to have reasons for doing them. So if you're doing something terrible in this game, you can probably justify it because you're in a bad situation. But you can also just be really bad. And when you're going to meet some of these, how many characters? 596. Some of those characters you'd never speak to. Some you just kill if you're playing the good option. And some of them have really interesting stories to discover. So I beg of you, be evil just this once, but be good in your lives.
Early access is a really good opportunity for this.
It is.
I was going to say.
It's a good place to explore these things. Yeah. And this all goes back to us approaching this game and trying to be as close as we can to like your digital DM. And I think, Chris, you know, this is something that is true with Dungeons and Dragons and tabletop role-playing in general. It's a place where, you know, people gang together, they want to be heroes sometimes, and sometimes they just want to burn the world, right?
Oh, we lost Chris there.
Lost Chris's audio for a second. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I was muted. My dog was barking. I'm sorry. So I muted myself. But I agree with you wholeheartedly. Flirting with evil has been a part of D&D since the beginning. It's good not to be evil because evil parties tend to implode. But
That's
once
true.
in a while, it can make the story go in a fascinating direction.
Evil characters in a diverse party.
That, you know,
good.
we talked about options, obviously good versus evil playthroughs, but let's also
evil
talk
parties
about
almost never work
permutations and
in practice.
You know, the further expanded set of options in the game. How is that going to work in the game in terms of permutations and choices?
So it begins. It starts like for us. It's like we're inviting you into our world, into our campaign, into the world of Dungeons and Dragons. And from the minute that you choose your class and your race, we're paying attention as writers and as designers. And the world's going to react to that. It's going to react to who you are at the beginning of your adventure. But more importantly, and the more complicated part, is it's going to react to the things that you do. Your party is going to react to the way that you behave. Your party is going to react to each other. They're going to have these complicated relationships.
Me too, Crunchy Frog.
What we want to do is we want the world to always be aware of you. So it's a lot of work to make sure that you get all that, and that's what we mean by permutations. We mean reactivity. We mean a world that makes you feel like you're really part of it, and that we've invited you in and we've let you play with it, and it will react to you.
Okay.
Not just tell you its story.
That's a good story.
But
we need to see it in practice.
If you think of it from a DM perspective, we have this huge detailed world that we created, all these different quests and storylines. And what happens sometimes is you invite somebody like Sven into them, and they do something that you didn't expect.
This is not wine, this is water.
Says, oh, you know what?
I promise.
I'm not going to engage with this stuff. I'm going to do something completely different. This is what Sven discovered the other day.
Yeah,
you want to tell me what you did, Sven?
I was fooling around with character creation, and I always want to see how I can break the game. That's pretty much my job description. And so I picked a ranger, and so I had a class passive that I could select. So I picked beast taming because I read that it was going to give me a cantrip, which allows me to find a familiar. And I always liked familiars, so I said, well, I want a familiar. So let's try it out and see what damage I can do with my familiar. And I liked it because one character here.
Beastmaster with the find familiar.
Recruit that familiar. And so, Nick, can you fire that up? Is that going to work out?
Find familiar a ranger
Nick has two machines that he's operating, so he's about to report on how his combat went. I think it went disastrous. So here you see him summoning a spider. So he has a whole bunch of familiars that he could have picked. He could have picked a crab or a cat or a raven or something more interesting.
Beastmaster sucks. We all know it.
Pretty cool. And the thing is that he can then take control of the spider.
Flavor cool,
so that's the thing
mechanics.
That I started fooling around with. And I actually took that spider. I went the entire other side of the world, and so I went with my spider and I listened in on conversations, and I went to look at what all the evil guys were up to. And the amazing thing was that in general it actually worked. And so that was pretty cool. So I called, can you do a little jump, Nick? Because
Yeah, I'm hyped too.
This really cool jump. And remember,
Gonna play
verticality.
a
So
lot.
just that ability, the ability to jump far as this spider, that alone already allows you to do a whole bunch of things. But the spider can also cause mayhem. Can you?
Looks
go
like,
bite maybe? So this is a little bit further. There's a character called Shadowheart. She's one of your companions. So maybe bite her in her leg or something. Here we go. Up. Oh shit!
Oh, critical hit.
Oh shit!
Oh, damn.
She didn't feel it. Do it again, Nick.
Oh my
Oh,
god.
she doesn't react. She's supposed to react. Oh no! It's failing live. Oh, there.
Yeah,
No.
bugs,
Oh, okay,
boys.
So she is
Early
reacting. I
access
guess
bugs.
She didn't feel it through her chainmail there. So things like we chatted actually after me doing it, and I said, "Are you going to put a leash on this? Because that's normally what a developer would do, right? They would say, oh, okay, well, you can't allow this to do. It's going to break the entire game. You have to make sure that you can maximum go 20 meters away or some silly rule like that." And so we looked at each other and said, nah, we're just going to leave it in there. I mean, it worked for the most cases, so let's see if the scripters can make it work across the entire game. And so the one limitation that we put on there is that the spider can't go through doors. So that's it. They can't open doors. Obviously, they would be able to go through doors, but with them to do level transitions. But other than that, you can take your familiars.
I don't know.
You can take a cat. You can send your cat somewhere, and then you can get the cat to... what's it called? Draw people's attention. It has a different name, but draw people's attention so that people start looking at the cat, which is great for your rogue as he's sneaking through somewhere in the dark. So all this systemic gameplay comes into play just by that one little choice, you know. I just selected beast taming. It gave me a cantrip. Find familiar. And now I have all these new options. So now imagine that you're playing in multiplayer and you're doing all these crazy things. And now imagine that you're the script who have to think of all the permutations that are going with this. And so that is one of the things when we're talking about permutations. But we have more actually. Nick, could you manage to get yourself into a situation with, he has all these save games, and so can you get into a situation with animal empathy or an animal talking while maybe Chris explain to people what the difference is between animal handling and speaking with animals?
I mean, we all know it already, right?
No, wait, we'll let Chris for it explain.
One is a
first.
skill, other one is a spell.
Can we jump back to Chris, please?
Unless they're talking about something
can't hear
completely
him.
different.
Oh, we're muted.
Oh, Chris is muted.
You're muted, Chris.
Animal handling.
Well,
You
rip
hear me now,
Chris.
though, right? Yeah.
Yes,
You're
yes.
back.
So
yeah.
animal handling is a skill in D&D, and
There we go.
you use it to convince animals to do things, and it's not like you're communicating with them specifically. These are animals you're not talking to. You're just saying, okay, there's a horse over there that doesn't like me. I want to change its mind about me. Or there's a wolf that wants to eat me. I'm going to try to persuade it not to.
Yeah,
and
good
or
luck with
maybe
that.
feed it some other food and convince it to leave me alone. Those are great uses for the animal handling skill. Whereas
Most DMs will
speak with
just attack you
animals,
with
the
wolves.
spell allows you to have a two-way conversation
Oh.
with a beast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so when we were starting to prepare development for the game, we looked at animal handling, and we obviously had done a game in which you could speak with animals with Divinity Original Sin, and say, so what are we going to do? Are we going to put animal handling in, yes or no? Because it actually means we need 3 dialogues. And we need the dialogue when you click on an animal where you're just not handling the animal. We need the dialogue that you're handling the animal. We need the dialogue that you're speaking with the animal. So it means every single animal is going to come with at least 3 dialogues, not counting the permutations that are going to come out of this. And so then we looked at each other and said, well, we have no choice really, we have to do all of it. And so this is how we brought animal handling to the game, as many other things. And so we'll have a look at what animal handling looks like in a game. But first, I have a question for Chris. If you were to DM a campaign and somebody wanted to try animal handling on an owlbear, would you allow it?
Oh yeah, I would allow it, because an owlbear, even though it's classified as a monstrosity in the D&D game as opposed to just an ordinary beast, it has a very animal-like brain. So yeah, I would definitely allow it.
Excellent, because that's literally what we said. And so
I was going to say, it's
Nick
like it's
versus
already
the
been made.
owlbear.
I mean, it makes sense.
You know, you've got living things you can speak to, obviously. Owl bears, spiders.
We're gonna see the owl
you
bear,
guys
right?
I would probably
We
let
should
it
see the
Oh, we're gonna
happen.
show it?
I don't know.
Go to the
It
owlbear.
depends.
Oh, wow. Okay,
And
cool.
can we keep in mind as you watch this that Chris just referred to this as a monstrosity?
To me, it doesn't make sense that the owlbear is a monstrosity. Like, it's literally a
The
bear
owlbear.
with an
You don't know
owl
what
head.
the role
Oh
is
my
going to be
God,
either.
look at this.
Oh.
Oh, he made a mess. Holy crap. Oh, it looks sick. Oh, damn, look at it. Shit. Oh, man. It looks awesome. Oh, boy. You see.
Wow, this is cool.
He's gonna try animal handling.
Oh, he's
here.
gonna fail. He's gonna fail.
Never
Oh,
mind if
nope.
you had
He's
secret
not gonna
animals, you
fail.
could have talked to it.
Yeah.
The owl's
Alright.
one good eye flicks
I
away
would
from
love for him to fail.
You follow its glance and see an owl bear.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think
Oh.
DLC. DLC to level 20, definitely. It makes sense.
So we're not gonna spoil everything tonight.
Oh, that looks so
but
cute!
The owlbear.
Wow, this is cool.
For a moment.
Hold on,
You
hold on.
follow
How do I...
an owl
Oh,
Oh,
oh. Look at that little thing. That's gonna become a big thing and screw you up.
Tonight. But the owlbear
Yeah, that's
cup,
true, Anonymous.
if you manage the situation
Anonymous.
really well,
Sorry.
leads up to multiple other situations in which you find that owlbear cup. And if you really, really play your cards well and your dice roll well, then you can actually
Level 15 to
recruit
20,
that
you
owlbear
have
cup
to
in your
homebrew a
camp,
lot
and
as
then
a
you can
DM.
see the things that happen in your camp. Now, it wouldn't be BG3 if what happens with the owlbear cup in the camp depend on what other animals you brought there. So the owlbear cup could create quite a lot of havoc. So if you had a favorite pet dog there, it might be that you wake up one morning and your favorite pet dog might have had a small accident. So these are things that you need to take into consideration as you're playing the game. But they're the cool, fun situations that roll out. And all of this is brought to you cinematically also throughout the entire game. And that's where those well, not only where those 45,000 lines of dialogue come from, because we have yet another example.
45,000, holy crap.
Things that bloated our dialogue counts.
yeah.
And maybe you want to chat about that one, Adam.
I was gonna say it's like
Yeah,
there's even
so
more,
you can-
right?
Yeah, no, like we thought if you can speak to the animals, you can do the animal handling, you can speak to all these different creatures, you can speak to goblins, you can speak to people, you can speak to Githyanki, and then we
Time
thought,
for
well,
more wine, guys.
there are other things that you can speak to in the world of Dungeons and Dragons, and that's dead things. So we also allow you to speak dead because we didn't have enough dialogues already. And thankfully, Dungeons and Dragons does have a rule for that. So Speak with Dead is implemented in the game. If Chris, you could just explain how that works in 5th edition?
Yeah, so this is necromantic energy, and it allows you to have
It's not wine.
to
It's
ask
just water.
to 5 questions
It's just
of
water.
a corpse.
I
Now,
drink
the
from
corpse needs to be
glass
relatively
bottles.
intact so that it has like a working mouth or something it can use to. That's one condition. The other, of course, is the corpse only knows things that happened prior to death. Its answer is somewhat limited. Also, the corpse is not always necessarily friendly to you, and as precise an answer as you want.
So when we were implementing this,
Chris,
we-
you cut away from me there. Did
Oh,
you guys
okay.
hear Chris? I didn't hear him. You're back
Yeah,
now.
he's back. He's back
Okay.
alive.
I don't know why
Okay,
that happened.
there's nothing
Anonymous.
wrong on my end. It was just something in the system, I guess. But I was going to say,
Yeah.
so Speak with Dead is a spell that lets you talk to a corpse. And you can ask it 5
because
questions. Go on.
All right. Are we?
Yeah,
We're good?
sorry.
All right.
You're good. We
I'm
can hear you
using
now, Chris.
necromantic
So
energy
speak
to
with that.
communicate across the void. So
Alright.
it's 5 questions, and the head needs to be intact. And we could have gone the route of just making sure that everyone who died had their head explode, or you decapitated them. We didn't. So there are a lot of dead people that you can talk to in the game, and we've implemented as close as to D&D rules as we could, and we've got a pretty cool take on it, I think. And I think we can look at one of those, right?
Yeah, that is correct. So this is actually on the very beach where you will crash with your nautiloid after you played the tutorial area. So we've shown this area before, but there's bodies lying there, and so he's going to take a scroll, Speak with Dead, and then he's going to have a chat.
Yeah, Speak with Dead. I recently spoken about that spell. It's a good spell, but sometimes it just doesn't give you just confuses you more. Depends. But in terms of the video game,
Fisherman.
Obviously,
The crash came quick. Trying to help folk.
I personally wouldn't have wasted my scroll to this guy, Nick. I don't think that was a really good idea. But anyway.
I mean, why not?
So again, we're not going to start spoiling things too much because we do want players to discover.
Sven is metagaming.
But so when you
He
add
knows
all
that
of
this
these
is
things,
useless.
now suddenly that number of 45,000 starts making sense, especially when you then take all of the different types of playthroughs that you can have of the content. So it is a incredibly
actually
reactive
works?
game with a lot of
Didn't know that.
choices that are made available to you as a player. In this particular case, Chris, which classes can you use speak with that as? Because not everybody can use speak with that, for instance.
Yeah, I mean, well, if you have a spell scroll, that's really handy. But a cleric, for instance, is very handy with Speak with Deads. And so if you have a cleric in the party, that's a good start.
Yeah. So that's another example of how which classes you have in your party actually define what gameplay options are going to be available to you. So, and when the full version of the game is going to release, when we'll have all classes in there, it's going to become very, very hard to get out of character creation because you'll have to make some decisions that will have lots of ramifications as you go across the game. I got news from Crusher, so it didn't end well.
Goblin camp.
What's the latest? What's the?
So I'm picking up that he died miserably. All right, and
Yes,
so
that's
he
what I
hasn't
heard,
been
yeah.
able to get back into the situation that he. So we're not going to see the end of Crusher, unfortunately. So that's going to bring me probably closer to one of the problematic things, which is going to be the release date, I guess. Is that correct?
I don't know how,
this
but
is the awkward part of the stream. But we are going to do
that plate mail or
Q&A
whatever
at
that
the
is.
end for the community as well. So if you guys have questions for these guys, that's your next interactive thing to do in chat. Is you're not going to get to pick the final question from all, but you can throw a question at these guys. So put those in the chat, and then at the end we'll come back and do some Q&A with these guys as well.
Yeah, definitely go and ask
on
them
what happened.
questions.
But
like,
yes,
I'm here.
we
just
are going to
chilling.
talk about the early access release date in a minute here. But let's talk like
Hold on.
philosophically about early access. You're here addressing many of the fans watching are folks that are going to be, I'm sure, jumping into early access. What does that kind of mean to you
I scrap. Oh.
as a studio? Like how
Never
you know,
mind.
early access is a term that people throw around in a bunch of different ways, and sometimes it's just literally a marketing beta or something. I mean, I know that you guys treat this part of the development of the game. Can you maybe talk a bit, Sven, like philosophically about like what you're looking as a studio to get out of early access? You'll get feedback, sure, but like how is it going to affect the game and your approach to finishing it up to 1.0?
I like that you're asking me these philosophical questions with a brain in my hand, so it's really cool.
That's it.
So.
To be or not to be.
So, yeah, no. So we did early access for Original Sin 1, and we liked it a lot because it helped us to make Original Sin 1 a much better game. So we went full in for Original Sin 2 in early access, and that made Original Sin 2 a much, much, much better game. And so we're hoping to get the same out of early access for BG3. So we're going to go into early access, and we intend to stay there for a while as we improve everything that our community doesn't like about it. Everything that we see is problematic, and the way we're going to do that is we're going to, and on the one hand, we're going to do a whole bunch of analytics, and on the other hand, we're going to listen to what the community is telling us. And so the analytics, we use tools for that show us things. I mean, I think we have some heat maps from Original Sin 2 that we can show. Is that correct?
Yeah, you showed me this. This is so cool. Yeah.
Oh, let's see that. Ooh.
So what are we looking at there?
So that's for those two. That's a heat map of the early access part of Act 1, and that's where people were dying. So if you played those two and you look at the lower part on the left side, there's a big red spot. That's a guy named Migo. Everybody who played those two will remember Migo because everybody pretty much died there. So we could see that everything was as it should be. And so if the entire map becomes red, it means that we have problems. If we see, and then typically we're going to lower the difficulty of a fight. If we see that there's areas where nobody is coming, and then we say, okay, this is too hard to find, so maybe we should give a little bit of hints, and then we modify the level design a little bit. So it's things like that. But then it's also things like, are spells being used? Or maybe we should promote a class and explain to people, well, you can do these things. Do they actually figure out that they can speak with the dead? Maybe they never figure it out because they don't think it would be possible. So we then tell them through a tutorial box, hey, you can speak with the dead. We spend like this amount of thousands of dialogue lines on it. Please try to speak with the dead. It's pretty cool. New gameplay options and so forth. So that's the analytic part, but then there's also the qualitative part where we just engage with the community, not necessarily directly on the forums, but we do read them, and then we use what they tell us to drive internal debate over how will we change things. Like one of the really big examples from Original Sin 2 was we had this thing called durability. People hated it vehemently. They really, really hated it. They like hated it intensely. And so they came up with a whole bunch of arguments, and so eventually we listened to it. We were stubborn, but we eventually listened and made a better game out of it. And so hopefully the same thing is going to happen here with BG3, because it's certainly not easy to translate a rule book that's been around for some time, that has so much fans, into a video game, and then trying to do justice to the rule book, but also make sure that the video game is a lot of fun. So we have to find a very fine line in between there, and there's many, many possible interpretations. And so we came up with our interpretation, but now we'll let the community judge it. And then if they come up with better ideas, same thing like what you saw with the Intellect Devourer, we'll just adapt and we'll put it in there. I mean, in the end, it is about, I guess, creating a story with the community, creating a game together with the community, just like what you do, I think, Chris, right? So if you're creating your campaigns, you go along with what people tell you.
Exactly. D&D is a shared storytelling game. So the best ideas come from all around, you know?
Yeah,
excellent.
So this is literally
well, I'm sure the community...
I don't know Bombasaki, but they said they want to
we
optimize
know
the game
where our
so that
story's
it works
going,
on
and we know the
mid-range
various
platforms.
terrible and wonderful ways that this story can end and the different places it'll take you to. But as storytellers, we want the audience to be part of that, and that works for me as a writer within Larian. You know, people play my work every day, people look at my work every day, and you become better through that. You become better by listening, you become better by engaging, and storytelling is very collaborative. So if there are characters, just as in a tabletop campaign, if there are characters that people particularly love or particularly hate, then we may notice that. And you know, it's already happening. We're not even in early access yet, but we see you guys talking, and we see the things that amuse you and that you're interested in, and you know, we do pay attention.
So it's
you know, many of the people...
Awkward silence.
You're on, Sven.
No, you're on.
Many people want to know, with the you know, early access, most people watching this stream, I'm sure, are folks that are likely to probably jump into EA, but who is early access for? And when you think of it, I mean, it obviously is not a finished game, but something that I know you want to get as many people in to play it. But
for me.
In terms of setting expectations and kind of the audience for it, who are you targeting for early access? If there's like a prototypical player you want in early access.
Look at Sven's setup.
So so I know who we're not targeting. It's the person who wants a finished, polished game. They should wait. They should just wait until version 1.0.
I don't care about the polished game. Bugs are features.
We'll work very hard on making it as polished as we can, but it's not that yet. Early access is for fans who want to have a quick look, like an early feel of what it's going to be like, and there's a lot of fun to be had. There's a lot of stuff to be seen already. So I think that's one group. And then it's also for people who really want to be part of development, who just want to give us as much feedback as they can, who will play over and over, and will just engage with us in the forums and just give us lots of data to look at, and also give us lots of ideas to work with. And so we had a lot of those in the past, luckily for both of the Original Sins, so we're hoping we'll see that with BG3 also. And it will be those people that will drive the game to become much, much better than hopefully it already is. I think it's already pretty good, but I know it can be that much better once people start playing it and we see literally, okay, well, we didn't think of that, that button should be there, it should not be there, that kind of thing. These fights are too hard. Hey, why did nobody ever think of this idea? Like, why didn't we put this in there? So when we put that group thinking into it, you will get a much better game, and we're committed to listening and integrating stuff. It will take us some time, of course. We can't just magic it out of thin air, but we will be listening, and we will be integrating things that we see make sense, or we think are going to be good for the gameplay. Not everything, because we can't do everything, but a lot, for sure.
No, and the fact that you've got 20 plus hours of content in there, I mean, this is, a very, meaty experience for fans that they can't wait to jump into. And again, the production value looks incredible with all, the cinematics and dialogue and everything. So
I can't wait
think,
to do stupid stuff in
we're
game.
almost at that point, Sven, where I think you need to get that world premiere button ready, because are you ready to tell the world when early access is coming?
Yes.
Yeah, I guess so. Hold
on.
That's
I'm calling it September. What
I
happened?
hit the wrong one.
Oh.
Oh my god.
Well.
Oh my god. This
Rip.
is too perfect. That's my cue to get out of here.
Let me try that again. Oh, it's the wrong one. All right. Well, anyway. All right, let me do it properly. All
Drum
right,
roll.
World premiere.
Let's do this. September.
So the date that we're targeting
21.
for the moment, and we think we have a really good chance of hitting, is September 30th. So
Okay.
on September 30th,
I was
hopefully
kinda
you will
close.
find a game that's going to be fun to play from day one. That will still see a lot of improvements. That is waiting for your feedback, waiting for your data, and in which, if anything, you should really try playing as an evil character and see all the cool things that are going to happen to you, because it has an enormous amount of permutations, because we said the word permutations a lot. So September 30th for PC and for Stadia simultaneously, coming September
All right.
30th, right? I mean,
There you say it's going to be clipped out on Twitch, so you got to stick to it now. But all right, so end of September.
I'll try.
Yeah, just enough time for
early
me to
access. But
upgrade the
again,
rig.
I think the scale of what you guys are doing. When we first started talking to you guys about this earlier this year, I was like amazed how far along you guys were with the game, and then the fact that you're going to hit with this, the Act 1 content in 6 weeks.
Yeah,
is
it's a long
amazing.
time to
So,
wait, though.
I think we all can't wait to see everything that's in there. We've got a bunch of questions for you guys that we've been grabbing from the streams on Twitch and YouTube from
honestly,
fans.
it's a bit better that we wait.
Conversation. You guys are always great about talking to the fans, but
And get
I'm
a
just going to
bit
go
more
through some of these for
polished
you
game.
guys, based on what the fans
they
are
rush
saying,
this
and
thing.
just get some reactions here for maybe like the next 15 minutes or so. So let's just jump into them. The first one
Nah, they were
comes
not.
from Matthias on YouTube, and he says, "What have you guys done to preserve the D&D tabletop spirit in BG3?"
You want to pick it, Adams?
Yeah, I'll take that. Yeah, I mean, it's across the entire studio is this bringing it to life. So I talk a lot about this idea of being your DM, and that's really, really true. That's like that comes from the heart. We want you to feel as if you're playing with us. Not that we're just telling you our story, but that you're playing it with us. And that's very, very true to my experience with tabletop D&D. And then there's all the people who are far, far smarter at this stuff than me, who are working to interpret systems, spells, classes. It's an incredible amount of work. And I live in D&D now. I spend my days reading lore. I spend my days going back into the history. This is the world I live in right now. And sharing it is a real privilege. It's such an expansive and brilliant place, and you can already see with some of the choices we've made. We want to explore the strange corners. We want to go to Avernus. We want to put you on a Nautiloid. We want to really bring this to life for all of you.
You've also tapped into some very classic monsters too, like the Mind Flayers, the Owlbears,
Yes, yeah.
Bullets, the Intellect Devourer.
I mean,
these are a lot of monsters we haven't seen an Intellect Devourer in a game before. So this is already we're seeing something from classic D&D brought to life for the first time. It's great.
I sent a horde of Intellect Devourers against my party.
Like to add,
in one shot.
There's a very very strong push and a lot of pressure.
They live that
inside the studio to reward players' agency. Regardless
Fireball
of
solves
what
many
choices
problems,
they
you know.
Make sure that there's always something for them, and so when you put what just said, and actually what Chris just said, also making sure that all those iconic creatures and locations are coming into the game. When you put all of that together, you feel like you're playing, hopefully.
Dude, Mind Flayers are sick.
With a virtual game master, and that just reacts.
I didn't play Baldur's Gate 2, only one.
And it's great in multiplayer, but it's also great in single player.
Maybe I should.
Awesome. All right, next question comes from Twitch, and this is from the T-Boys. And this person wants to know, which I think is a great question, what kind of feedback are the most helpful for you guys from early access? What is the best method for gamers to share their thoughts and impressions
I played
with Larry?
BG1 a lot.
So how do you guys want people to, you know, they're obviously super devoted to helping you guys here. What's most helpful?
Okay. So just playing is already very helpful. So you don't have to do anything because we are, well, actually, oh yeah, I lost my ear. So someone's gonna have to put back the ear because I can't with the armor. But just playing with, well, I still have the left ear, so I can hear you in moon.
Oh my God, here comes
if you
the
just
helper.
play the game, and you, yeah, you're gonna be on the camera. If you click on yes, I want to send data to Larian, the only data that we're getting is data from in the game, or data when you crash. That is already super helpful. If you want to go further, there's a variety of ways that you can reach us. You can reach us on social media. You can reach us on our own forums, the Larian forums. You can reach us on the Steam forums. You just basically write your thoughts there. We will pick it up. We have a community team, and they're looking at everything that people are
Maybe I should play Baldur's Gate 2.
saying and doing. And so we analyze this. So
just
to
to
somebody
have
you can rest assured that somebody in our
continuity.
Slack channel is going to tell us like, that was a great idea. You should really listen to that. And so that is a, yes, that is a thing that you're going to, a way that you will be able to reach us.
And in a much less professional sense, I lurk everywhere. I absorb your memes. I love them. Please keep giving them to us. You know, I watch you. I listen to you. But that's just me.
Yeah, I forgot,
right,
and
well,
Reddit, of course, also. We are definitely looking at what's happening on Reddit. So that one too.
That's good.
I'm sure there's going to be lots of folks giving feedback.
That's
there's
good.
also a question that just came in from Discord. They're a popular place to talk about it. This is from the Wizard. And Wizard wants to know, will you add more races and classes during EA, or is what we get the first day all
That's a
we
good
can
question.
try out? Great question about sort of how early access is going to evolve.
Jeff-
at least
Jeff
from a
is
content
picking them good.
perspective. What can you share about that?
Okay, so yeah, no, classes are going to be added throughout EA, companions will be added, races will be added, features will be added. So a lot of the stuff that we advertised is present in early access, but there's more that we haven't advertised yet. And so you will see things pop in. And at the same time, you'll see the game change as we take the feedback into account, whatever the feedback is going to be. So I can't predict it up front.
Yeah, I
but
will
see a
buy
lot
it
of change.
on
If
probably on
you-
Steam.
If you want to have a litmus test of
Baldur's
that, or
Gate 2.
a point of reference, you just look at what we did to Original
Is it
Sin
even
2.
on
You
Baldur's?
just try
Is
to
it on
play
Steam?
Original Sin 2 in early access as we released it, and then look at the
I mean,
game
it should
that
be,
it's
right?
now. And so all the change that happened to it, that's something that can happen to BG3. But all of the content that gets added to it,
Yeah.
also, I mean, like Original Sin 2, I think like every month stuff was being added, and so you'll see similar things happening with BG3.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Next question comes from YouTube. Verity wants to know, will there be romance options? What can you tell us about romance in the game?
Go
I'm
ahead,
never
Adam.
personally interested in romance storylines with my
Yes, there will.
characters.
I
Just me.
don't want to tell you too much about them because
Nothing against
you know,
those.
we don't want to get into too much spoiler territory. Romance is best discovered, you know, by yourselves. You don't want me to describe your romance to you. You want to experience it. But yes, romance is a huge part of the game. The
I don't mind it. It's just I don't have interests.
You'll discover some of it in early access, but yeah.
It's literally one that we want you to discover, but we actually went quite far in everything that we put in there, so people will find it as they're playing the game.
I had no doubt that you have literally everything, although this next question is a good one, which I don't know if you've thought of or it's possible. Victor on YouTube wants to know, can we pet the brain?
That's a good question.
That's a good
That's an important question. I was thinking the same thing.
I was going to say, there'll be a Twitter account, can you pet the brain?
You probably will be able to tomorrow now, so.
What's with the sound?
I was going to say, you guys are
think
listening. There's still 6 weeks till early access comes out. Another question comes from YouTube about backgrounds for the custom characters. So, you know, tell us a bit about that. Like, how much can you pick or build out kind of, you know, background or origin story for characters?
Oh yeah, okay.
So there's a bunch of backgrounds in the game. So they have systemic benefits, which are going to help your.
Is it only PHP backgrounds or like circle extension? Maybe I should ask that
because
question.
we did start with it actually.
There's a lot of people
we
in here.
had backgrounds actually also give you a whole bunch of options. But then as we started implementing the dialogue, we actually had quite a lot of problems with that because folk hero, for instance, you got a tag option inside of a dialogue that said folk hero. And then the question from the writer was, yeah, but sure, but why are you a folk hero? What did you do as a folk hero? How did you get here as a folk hero? And so from the dialogue option point of view, the background options that were put into the game, we focused heavily on the classes and the races, and obviously on the things that you've done and earned throughout the game. But we didn't put the backgrounds in there, but at the systemics level, backgrounds do have an impact.
I don't know, John L. I don't know.
Classes.
Okay. Good to know. Next question, you sort of hinted at this earlier. For Lark Arn wants to know, have all the recruitable companions been revealed, or are there more to come? And will the roster be comparable to previous Baldur's Gate games? It sounds like there will be more added, right?
Yeah, there will be more. There won't be as many as the previous Baldur's Gate games because we put a lot of extra stuff on our companions if you compare it. Just the relationship, because we have when people will see and they'll start playing it, you'll see the enormous amount of relationship options that are there and how far they go. So there will be less, but there are more coming. As a matter of fact, Adam is working very hard on his, and that one is not in the game yet. So not announced either. I will just shut up.
No, Sven, keep talking.
I'm super excited about it. I would talk about it all night, but obviously I cannot. So.
Oh yeah, I have that problem when I'm DMing.
Next batch of questions here. And both these questions are about roles. And
I got much better at it,
and,
but I still do it from time to time.
Will there be a combat log that shows the roles occurring? And also, are there stats with modifiers that get added to dialogue roles? We can tell us about that, guys.
Of course. Of course there are bonuses.
Okay, there you go.
It's 5th edition. If you're rolling a skill, there's a bonus.
I think that's good news.
Yeah. I mean,
all right, and then we've got
like
bit of a. I mean, I get it. Not everybody in that chat plays 5th edition.
And then we got one more question for you guys. Let's see. This one comes from Robert Fulmer on YouTube, and he says, "How interactive will the world be? For example, could I shoot a chandelier and it fall on enemy?"
That's an awesome
very
question.
Specific example, but the idea of actually, dynamic environments, emergent gameplay.
Oh yeah, the chandelier is from
an amazing sort of systemic world. So I imagine there are some great emergent moments. What are the kinds of things we can expect in EA, or what are some of those opportunities?
Acquisitions Incorporated, right?
Well, you can. I think I demonstrated that in the previous gameplay stream. Actually, oh no, I didn't show it. Yes, right. It was in another. So yes. No, I never showed it. Yeah.
I don't think you are anonymous.
Yes. So it's like, yes.
World premiere.
You can.
There's not such a thing as being bad in D&D, honestly.
We actually have a cool scene that we demonstrated to press at some point, and where that was literally the thing that saved the day.
If you're bad in combat, that doesn't mean you're bad in D&D.
And so there's other stuff like that that's coming in.
There's bad players, but if you're a good player,
could I shoot and it fall on my
you're
enemy?
a good human being. I don't think you can be bad in D&D.
And it falls on your friend. Very important to know that.
If you catch my drift.
It's also important that you can actually jump on your enemy from if you were a spy.
It's a
you can just
social
jump
game.
from the top on the enemy, and then just do damage to the enemy if you want.
Very authentic D&D experience. All of that.
Exactly. Yeah.
I was gonna say,
hello, Gibbity Ribbity.
You guys have thought of it all.
What's
well,
up,
I have
mate?
to say, like, it's awesome that we date for early access, end of September. You're on the record with that. It looks incredible, right? Just the production value of what you guys have been able to do, especially with that many dialogue lines, like in the middle of
40,
a pandemic with all the recording.
42,
I can't
43
imagine
days
what's gone into
till we
all
get the early
cinematic
access
stuff, and obviously
pretty
the
good.
gameplay to get it to a point where you're comfortable enough to have people jump in for 20 plus hours of gameplay is pretty incredible. So
realistically, they will probably delay it.
On the record, we'll see everyone, I guess, starting in hell for
we can
early
hope.
access on Baldur's Gate 3 and Act 1. Want to thank Sven and Adam for putting this stream together, and the whole team really at Larian for the incredible work to put things together. And Chris, thanks for joining
You don't have
us
to,
as well. The
Bombasake.
one guy that wasn't in hell today.
There's no need to. I
having great fun on
this channel is more
yeah,
than
this is a big moment for all of us that early
making
access
up
is coming.
for what
So
I invest
anything
into
else we should keep in mind we
in
say
terms of
goodbye here,
time and
Sven?
energy and everything.
No, I mean, like, just...
What's up with his camera?
Stay tuned. Follow us on our social media. It's coming for PC Stadia, September 30th. Be sure if you buy it that it's something that you want to play, that you want to participate in. Otherwise, just wait until 1.0. It'll take some time, but when 1.0 is going to hit, it's going to be pretty good. That's it, I guess.
I gotta say, it's I've done a lot of live streams
What's up
this
with
summer,
Jov's
but
camera?
I have to say you took the cake in terms of the setup and the fire and the
Oh,
armor.
man.
I don't know what happens after the
keep
stream.
saying
It's pretty hot.
This is just what my office looks like. This is normal.
That's an awesome office. That's a childhood dream,
Ready
bro.
for the feast. You light the candles after, I guess.
The people who decorated this, the people behind the scenes, thank you to everyone. This is hard to do as well during these times. You know, we are socially distancing, we are COVID compliant. It takes a lot of work to put this all together. So thanks to everyone who helps out with that as well. Really appreciate it.
Agreed. It's
Thank you for
it's
sending me
great.
to hell, guys.
You're going to give people something to check out. End of September. So September 30th, early access for Baldur's Gate 3. Thanks for watching the stream, and stay tuned to the Larian socials for more updates on that early access day in Baldur's Gate 3. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Sven. Thanks, Adam.
All right.
Thank you,
Thanks for
everybody.
having me.
Bye-bye.
All right,
Nice.
see you soon.
September 30th. There we go, boys. Don't worry, Bombasake. September 30th, boys. September 30th is when the choo-choo train, the hype train arrives to the station. And I will most likely be playing it from day one. Not most likely. I mean, look, anything can happen, but God given, if I'm healthy and everything's fine, until that point, I'm probably gonna be playing it like live streaming. I'm definitely gonna be playing it, but I consider live streaming it in a similar fashion like this. I'll probably keep you updated in the community tab, and you know, keep you up to date in one of my videos and whatever. But yeah, it's exciting times. I mean, I must admit, like, I'm still slightly worried that this game ends up a flop. Now, Larian Studios seemingly have a very solid reputation in this space, and I've researched them, and I never played Divinity, but I have one of my Patreon players in my Patreon campaign. Actually, he played the game, and he told me that the game is awesome. You know, every game has its faults, but yeah, the shadowy parasite. yeah. Yeah, if there's a paladin and sorcerer, that's definitely gonna be one of the classes that I'm gonna play. I don't remember specifically if they said that multiclassing is gonna be allowed. I do remember they were talking about multiclassing. I think it was Sven that was talking about it, but they definitely said that the feats are gonna be in the game. I think it was Chris Perkins who said that, you know, at level 4 you would be able to pick up a feat. So, I mean, even the designer of the game knows that, you know, feats, everybody plays with feats, right? So, you know, that's how the game is being played, even though it's not the core rule set, it's the optional rule of the game. But let's be honest, like, most tables play with feats, pretty much all of them, like 90% or something. And I think like more than 60, 70% of tables play with multiclassing. So yeah, I hope the game is gonna be like that. Like, not even for the power gaming aspect, which, I mean, I like power gaming, but it's just that multiclassing allows you to customize a character beyond what the single class offers, right? So those are my thoughts. Yeah, anyway, I'm glad that we were able to hang out for whatever amount of time that we hanged out. in this live stream. I don't know, like, can I tell? Oh yeah, there we go. 1.5 hours. Okay, that's solid. That's solid. That's solid. Yeah, John L. I don't know. I don't know either. Hopefully they do PHB, like PHB and let's say Skag, because I think Skag is pretty important for the game. Yeah, let's open up. Hold on, give me just a second. Let me just open up Baldur's. Did they change already? Hold on, let me see. Hold on. They still haven't announced the release date, but we know the release date. The release date is September 30th, right? So, yeah. I don't know. What do you think? I hope for PHB, John L. Skag. Not that Skag has many subclasses, but Skag has those cantrips and a few spells. Xanatar, they didn't specify, but I suspect that it's just my opinion that they won't really have Xanatar in the game. Even though Xanatar is basically, like, if you're gonna do Mind Flayers, you kind of have to do Xanatar. It's not that the game will not function without Xanatar, it's just that it kind of makes sense from a thematic standpoint. I mean, Xanatar is a beholder, right? So, operations. Yeah, we will see. Like, I don't, I keep up with the news on Reddit and stuff like that. So yeah, you can do that same as me. I'm hyped. Like, I'm definitely gonna be playing this game, and most surely, like, at the moment, I'm considering streaming it. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. They said that multiplayer is not gonna be in the game right from the get-go. Yeah, Xanatars might be a DLC. Yeah, for sure. Or at least not the standalone DLC, but they might have a pack, like a DLC pack, which includes Xanatar and some of the other parts of the game. I mean, they mentioned Ranger, Beastmaster, or Beast Specialty, or whatever Sven described it as, and they said, if I'm not mistaken, that this particular Ranger gets the Find Familiar spell, which is not part of the 5th edition game. There is going to be multiplayer, but not right away. At least not according to... Maybe I misheard it. But I think Sven said right from the get-go, when the game gets released, no. But they plan on having multiplayer down the road. How soon? I don't know. Can't know that. So yeah. yeah. Yeah, Bombasaki. Yeah. Anyway, that was interesting little stream that we had. Thank you for spending time with me, guys, here. I'm gonna have a video ready soon this week. I don't have the exact date, but I'm working on 2 updates. And I'm still not exactly satisfied with where both of them are in terms of the script. The scripts are just way too damn long. Yeah. So, like, my thing is, I want to do 15 to 17 minute video. The length of videos that I want to do is like in between 15 to 17 minutes. And when I do these scripts, I write down everything, which, you know, I just read. And they end up being like 20 minutes, so I have to cut some things out, and it's kind of like hard for me to cut things out. You know, I like to talk a lot based on 2-hour-long videos that I had before, so yeah. Anyway, thank you once again. Thanks for hanging out. It was nice chatting with all of you in real life, in real time. And yeah, more videos, probably more news, and enjoy the rest of your day. And Max Munchkin out. I mean, I guess like, share, comment, subscribe if you haven't already. I don't know, like, what else do I say when I do these videos? Oh yeah, I say chuck a buck on Patreon. I guess you can do that too if you want, optional, whatever, blah blah blah. yeah, that's the end of the stream. I'm kind of bad with this, but this is really the end of the stream. I need to get better at streaming. It's a skill on its own, right? But for real now, we're done, guys. Yeah, see you.